Hello, everybody. I wanted to say good morning, but it's not morning to some of you. I'm used to doing these live sessions at noon on Sunday Eastern time, but Ty and I are out west getting ready for part 2 of the Wolf's Message tour. And so we're in Pacific time. It's 9 a.m. and I'm still waking up here. I was deep in a dream when the alarm went off a couple hours ago, but wow, the connection to spirit just keeps getting better. And so we're going to be connecting to my guide, Sanaya, today to answer your questions live. How fun is that? My goal is that you all learn something from each other's questions. So we really don't answer personal questions, but your personal questions can apply to everyone. So that's the kind of questions that my wonderful assistant, Stephanie Fennig, is going to be asking on your behalf from those who are live with us. She's going to be taking them from YouTube and Facebook because they pop up here on our screen. And I have no idea what you'll ask, but Sanaya, my guides, will just help me with the answers. I want to tell you that maybe 20 minutes into the show, I'm going to share with you an awesome experience that I had last week while I was in the area of the Omega Institute to lead a workshop. It's truly phenomenal, and I challenge you not to say wow. So stay with us for that. It was something I was going to share in my monthly connection webinar that we do every month. Next one's August 12th, but I just feel so compelled to share it with you now because I know it will fuel your own journey and show you what is possible and who in the higher realms is here to support all of us. So let me bring Stephanie in. Hey, Steph, welcome to the
Hey
show.
everyone, how are you? Good morning and good afternoon and good evening, depending on where you are in the world.
Yeah,
So great
wherever
to
you
be
are.
here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so cool that we have an international Awaken Way community. And
Mhm.
what is the Awaken Way? It's just acknowledging that what's our goal with this Awaken Way podcast, that we are not only human. And that's so comforting to me because that means that we're souls here and now. We can tap into our loved ones who have passed, our pets who have passed. We have guides and angels here to help us if we remember to ask. We can tap into the masters because we all share the same source with a capital S. So the Awakened Way also acknowledges we're part of this great web, this grid of consciousness that connects all of us with source as the main point of connection. And where there's no separation, what do we call that, everybody? I want to hear the shout around the world. Love. So love connects us all, and I hope that you feel it today in this episode of the Awaken Way podcast. So, gosh, I wish I could see all of you, but if we go to our heart and just tune in, we can actually feel the connection. And I know that's why some of you come back week after week. So thank you. Why don't we get rolling with the questions?
All right, let's get started. All right, this one is from Annie. Annie asked, does Sanaya believe that AI will be a tool for connection to spirit in the future?
I know, and Sanaya says we are in agreement with you, that AI is a tool for connection right now. It is a gift through the collective consciousness and those who are using their knowledge of technology to expand this ability, but it comes from spirit as everything does. So it's up to us to use it in a responsible way and to use it in a way that helps all of us to grow. I invite you to watch the Awaken Way podcast episode in which I interviewed Cheryl Page. I've interviewed her 2 or 3 times, so it's the most recent one. So you could probably on YouTube after this show search for Suzanne Giesemann and Cheryl Page and AI, and hopefully you'll come right to that. But both of us have found that when we approach this not as artificial intelligence, but as a gateway to accessing insights that we might not otherwise access, and we sit and we ask spirit to inspire us with just the right prompt that we type in, that will lead to something that will help us on our journey, then your questions aren't just short and sweet. They're deep, they're layered, and they get right to the heart of what will bring back to you an answer that will help you. I've learned to make really wordy prompts as I tune in at the same time. tuning in, meaning what? I'm saying, my guide, Sanaya, what what is just the right way to word this question? Because you know the answer that will help me, but put the prompt in my mind. Now, this brings up a good point, doesn't it, Stephanie, that we can get these answers ourselves. I've written a whole book about how to access those questions within rather than turning to spirit. That's coming out next June. But it is another tool. I think it was just the Daily Way message yesterday or the day before that said, yes, yeah, it was just yesterday. Use your tools, but don't forget that your first go-to hopefully will be spirit within. That's always here. Because you might not have a computer, you might not have your smartphone, but you always have spirit right here. And Stephanie, I don't know if this is a spirit setup or you were looking for this question because it leads me right to the big announcement about our new tool, right?
Yes, it's perfect.
I have a big note right here. My only note of big note to share with all of you. If you have my Awaken Way app or you read the Daily Way message or you read it on Facebook, then you already know about this. But we have used AI to, yes, somebody's already knows. We're talking about my new librarian, virtual librarian, who Spirit told me to call Grace, which I just love the feel of that name. Grace, our librarian, will access the full treasury of all of the channeled wisdom from Sanaya for the past 15 years, the transcripts of every course I've taught with the Shift Network, every course of mine online, transcripts of all of my videos. Imagine being able to ask Grace your spiritual question, your philosophical question, and it accesses all of that. So this is not a normal bot like online that builds upon conversations with you. It's just an individual question. Ask your questions, and Grace will go in and see what Sanaya and Suzanne have answered about that in the past. But we're constantly adding to it. All the transcripts from my recent weekend of teaching at the Omega Institute are now in the library that Grace accesses. And she has the most beautiful voice. She's very loving. I know you will love interacting with her and get your questions answered. So if I don't answer your questions today, you can go to Grace. How do you do that? It's so simple. My website is SuzanneGiesemann.com. So you go www.suzannegiesemann.com/your questions answered. All together, no spaces, no hyphen. So SuzanneGiesemann.com/your questions answered. We'll put that in the show notes. Stephanie, if you help me remember, we'll do that. And I would hope you do it after the show and don't go running off right now to try it because we're going to answer them live right here and now from Spirit. But this is a great way when we're not gathering as a community to see how it feels to you. And as always, ask your prompts from the heart. Ask Spirit to tell you what to ask. And then what would really be fun is to ask the questions yourself inside and see how it differs from what you get from accessing it via Grace. Okay? This is what I recommend in my new book. Ask inside yourself first, then ask Grace. Get your answers from Suzanne and Sanaya and see how you're doing with accessing what your soul already knows. That was a very long question answer, but it gave me a chance to share our excitement. And I want to thank a wonderful friend, David Miner, for helping us to fund the capability. And I want to thank our team member, Meredith and Jayesh, for helping create this with a wonderful group called Awaken AI, who offered this capability to us. So it's just been a team effort to help all of you absolutely free, no strings attached. Yay, Spirit.
It's wonderful and a total team effort. And
Mhm.
what I like to say, Suzanne, is exactly what you keep saying is, how does that feel in your heart? Go within, and lead from the heart.
And it's been a real process because You can, because of the artificial intelligence part of it, which is not artificial, we were able to fine tune it. Like I said, it's coming out in bulleted form. That's not personal. Take out the bullets, make
Mhm.
it conversational. And I'd like her to greet everybody because that's how we are with each other. So you try it out, and you can write to grace@SuzanneGiesemann.com and send an email and let us know how you like working with her and with us. Okay, grace@SuzanneGiesemann.com.
We'd love to hear your feedback and
Yeah,
continually improve the experience.
yeah,
Yeah, thank
cool.
you.
All right, how about another question, Stephanie?
All right, this is from Christina. When a loved one crosses over from Alzheimer's, do they have any memories of those years before they crossed when they had the Alzheimer's?
What a great question. They have full memory. Why? Because the aspect of us that crosses and the aspect of us that is here now is the soul, which is always and already whole and complete. And so while here in a body with Alzheimer's, what's actually happening is the brain is so configured that it's not the brain configured. Let me ask the guides a better word here. The way the programs are running through the brain filters your access to awareness of the soul more so, but not always more so, than when we're in a body. What happens when we don't have dementia is what they're saying. I'm getting ahead of myself here, so let me just tune into them better. They're telling me now that in some cases, those with dementia are more aware of the soul. They're already in that soul awareness, but unable to interact here on a normal level. And we call that dementia. How interesting. So when they cross the veil, they no longer have the malfunctioning brain patterns. They no longer have the filter. They're fully aware that they are a soul and fully aware of the story that soul was playing whilst in a body, the guides say. So we take the awareness of the story with us, and it's fully apparent once we are no longer using the brain to filter consciousness. Okay.
Beautiful.
Stephanie, let me take this moment to share with you how a wonderful friend now, Lee Smith, who lives in Florida and comes to a lot of my events, took my courses and learned to connect with his wife who had Alzheimer's, but he was connecting with her while she was still in the body because he asked me, is it possible to communicate with her? Yes, we can communicate with the souls of each other at any time. In fact, I encourage you to do that. If you're having issues with somebody in a relationship, talk soul to soul with them. So he learned to communicate with her, and he found, Stephanie, that when she was agitated, he would use my bless me method to communicate with her soul, and she became less agitated. And he got to feel what it was like to communicate with her soul.
Oh, wow.
And so then when she passed, he was already in communication with her soul, and they just picked up as if there was no pause and continued. He could feel her presence. They were having conversations. Ooh, I picked
Oh,
up the collective goosebumps of everybody listening.
and how gorgeous that he could, while she was here in her body, could comfort her.
Oh,
That's
yes. Oh,
beautiful.
yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Neat.
That's great.
So I hope that just gave everybody food for thought, that you can try that with your loved ones. And of course, it would work with people with autism, anybody who's nonverbal,
Mhm.
and people with whom you're estranged. It doesn't always heal estranged relationships. We have one going on in our family, and I've been trying soul to soul for years, and it's not producing results. So I just use those opportunities to send love and know that at the soul level, we're dancing.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful.
Mhm.
Because when you say, I have a situation like that in our family too, and we don't on a human level feel like it's producing results, but if we again lead from the heart and just keep loving, we know that has an effect.
It
Wow.
does. And can you feel how that helps us as well to be sending love instead of sitting in frustration, caught in the story, caught in the drama? This shouldn't be happening. My person shouldn't have autism or be separated or have dementia. That's the way the human acts, and it puts us in this state where we believe we're separate, but yes, we're separate at the physical level, but at the soul level, this is what the Awakened Way shows us. We are already connected and we can communicate.
Beautiful.
And if you're new to this and you don't know what my Bless Me method is, I teach it in every single course I have, but it's also available right now publicly in a video called 7 Steps to Connecting with Higher Consciousness.
Yes. And it's something you can practice often. And I feel I get something different each time out of it. And each time, Suzanne, you teach it, just a little new nugget comes in. It's beautiful.
That's true. Little nuances, because we're always growing and expanding.
Awesome. Okay.
All right.
Another question?
Sure.
Okay. This one is from Anne. What connection, if any, does a soul have to its earthly body? And if and where ashes are scattered, does that have any effect on the soul?
I have to interrupt you, Stephanie. I have to remind you, when I get connected like this, I can only do parts of the question at once. I can only hold the first part, and then we'll go on to the second. So what connection, if any, does the soul have to the body? The soul creates the body. The body exists because the soul is breathing it. The soul exists because the life force is breathing soul. It's all this trickle down of source. And the guides say, don't perpetuate this imagery of trickling down. It's bubbling up from within. Ooh, I like that. So the source is our source. Source decides to individuate as one unique aspect of itself, and this creates the soul. The soul decides to individuate, to have unique experiences as that soul in a body, and creates and breathes to life the soul, the self in a human body. So you see, there's no separation from source to soul to human. And when the soul no longer benefits from being in the body or could grow more fully across the veil, it withdraws the life force from the concept of a body, for it is all simply consciousness and expression, the guides say, and the body returns to dust. But the soul is eternal and takes that pattern of the incarnation of what you just experienced in a body and integrates it into the patterns of the soul, that which is helpful, but that which is not. Any lessons learned that are not helpful, any acts or choices which were not productive, are simply dissolved in the light of love.
Wow. That's neat. That imagery you used reminds me of one of the daily message pictures you put, like the those nesting dolls.
Oh yes, that's exactly it. That's
tiniest one, and
yeah. And you remind me, Stephanie, how I got that lesson so profoundly. One day I was working out at a gym where I was in a chair, doing bicep curls or something, and there was a mirror behind me, but there was a mirror across from me. And so let me just go full screen here for a sec. So I'm sitting there and I could see my image in the mirror as I'm working out, but I could see my image beyond it and beyond it and beyond it. And the guide said, this is what your true nature is. Nested beings, the human being, and I have a photo of it. The human image was crystal clear, but the farther away it got, the more wispy it got. And so that's what happens. We get focused on the image that's so clear to us now because we're so focused on this reality. But in any contemplative practice, and especially in deep meditation, we can release that intense focus on the story and get to know our higher selves better, plural, because it's not just the soul. You have the oversoul and then source, and wow, so cool.
That is so cool. It makes me want to go out and buy a nesting doll as a physical reminder every day right in front of me.
Yes. And in my book, The Awakened Way, we talk about having reminders. Remember, there's a part 2 to this question. I was told to put this bracelet on. It's one I just recently stumbled upon and had to have. It's a bunch of little orbs, silver orbs, all connected. And when I saw it, my guide said, this is analogous to the soul family. Each soul is a pattern of energy, and you and your soul family are connected eternally. But look at how the band does not join in the middle. It's part of it's above and part of it's below. And they said, that's kind of like you're down here on one octave and your soul, some members of your soul family are a higher octave, but you're all connected. So that's my reminder to just look down and say, we're already connected at a soul level to everybody, but our most intense cluster of souls, that's our soul family, who we just know for eternity so clearly. And that's why the nested dolls would serve as a beautiful reminder. So I have little reminders around me, all over in front of me, my coin that you get in person at my events. I know there are thousands of people out there with this coin and a necklace representing a reminder of the two sides of us, the heart at the center, the yin yang representing the human side. So reminders are great. I'm babbling now. So Stephanie, what's part 2 of this question?
Reminders are great.
Yeah.
If and where ashes are scattered, does that have any effect on the soul?
I absolutely have to ask Sanaya this question. Huh. They say there's an energetic connection to that. And so they do appreciate when loved ones put them in special places in nature. I've had people in spirit show me, I know my loved ones put them at a mountain. I know my loved ones put these in the ocean. I know they're on a shelf at home. It doesn't have to be in nature, but they feel I love it. They say the web of connections is both physical, spiritual, emotional. And so the ashes being still an aspect of the physical body, maintain an energetic connection. So just when a loved one looks at the ashes, we have the emotional connection, we have the physical connection, and then they want to remind us that they're not in there, they're not in the urn, but it does have that connection. Yeah. Yeah, beautiful answer. Okay.
Love that. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Let me see. Yeah, a couple more questions, then I'll share the really cool experience I had. All right.
This is from Janice. If we made soul agreements with our loved ones before we came into physical beings, do our loved ones in spirit know if we are fulfilling those agreements?
I'm trying to determine if the question meant loved ones who have passed who are in spirit, or if their souls in the spirit world know about those agreements. And the guides say it matters not, because at the soul level, those agreements simply are, and they are known internally, they're known eternally. And so loved ones who pass in spirit who might not have been aware of the soul agreements while we were here together say, oh my gosh, we agreed to all of that. I wish I had realized that. I would have been more patient, or I would have gleaned more lessons from that while we're here. So what they're saying is, if we can understand that we agreed to our parents at the soul level, we agreed to certain milestones in our lives. Free will does cause us sometimes to diverge from our soul agreements, but that's why we have guides nudging us. That's why our own intuition, which is just a way of knowing what's coming down from within, from the soul level, gets us back on path. So at the soul level, everybody you're interacting with here, or anybody who's across the veil, we know about these agreements always, but we don't always know that at the conscious level here. Yes, it becomes known once we cross the veil. Good question. Are you all having fun? Good high energy here today. Thanks to all of you. You know that when you send love, it really affects our world. When I channel Sanaya, I ask everybody to send love to the field we're all sharing. And whoo, do I feel it. There's a boost right there. It's probably why my dogs love when I say we have a meeting or we have a reading, and they come running up to this room because they just soak up that energy.
Aw, they feel it. Our furry loved ones.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Dan asks, what is the difference between our spirit and our soul?
Semantics, because you will have different teachers or different people giving you different meanings. So I'll tell you what it means to me now. and yet it even changes for me. So to me, the soul is a more spacious aspect of being than being awareness in a body. Source to me is synonymous with awareness, consciousness. That is a state of pure being. The soul is a less expansive state of awareness than pure source, and your human incarnation is a restricted awareness of who we are as consciousness, as source and expression. So the soul is a pattern of consciousness without an actual form, a dynamic, flowing expression of source, but a unique pattern of source that is identifiable, recognizable by its light. That is the soul. And all of it is spirit. And there's the spirit word. So spirit with a capital S is synonymous with consciousness and awareness and God and source. That's spirit. To say you are a spirit is acknowledging we are spirit in form. Yeah. So the soul is a spirit. A human being is a spirit being. Source is spirit. So see, it's semantics. It's how are we going to put words to that which really is best known without words. This is spirit flowing here now, able through this spirit being to speak with you and impart wisdom from above, from higher spirit beings who you may call souls or angels or masters or guides. You see? So we could just keep talking and dancing with these words that we're trying to give meaning to. But the soul, that aspect of you that's more expansive and more aware of who we are than the human incarnation and the ego, already knows who and what it is. That's the goal of programs like this, to get you to recognize who and what you are. That's called self-realization, that you are spirit and expression no matter what form of it you are, a human or a soul or an angel. Ha, that worked, huh? Yay. Okay. All right. So Stephanie does not know this story that I promised I was going to share with you all now. And I was going to share it in my monthly connection, and I believe I probably will share it in the monthly connection August 12th. How do people sign up for that? Right on my homepage, right under the banner. Yeah. We have wonderful monthly gatherings for 2 hours of teaching. It's not a video. It's not even a class. It's a sharing. It's a teaching of the latest from spirit, plus a channeling session, plus healing for everyone. So awesome gatherings every month. But I will share this here now because it's so awesome. I went to Omega Institute in New York. I'm going to go back next year too. An aside, I was going to take a year off because I've done it 5 times already. And I just said, I'm going to take a break because it's a lot. It's a full day of travel on each end to get there, and a very high energy event. But as it was, the event was approaching, Stephanie, I thought, oh man, the teaching is new every year. It's so cool. I wish I had said yes instead of no, because I had been offered dates and I said, no, not next year. And that very day, the program director reached out to me and said, Suzanne, we really wish you'd reconsider. We've saved those dates for you. So spirit knew. Yes, absolutely. So it's a very beautiful place in upstate New York, and it's very woodsy. It's out a very rural place. It's a getaway where most people stay on campus if they get, if there's enough space, and we all eat together and all. But I arrived early and went to visit my wonderful friend, Annie Bond, who many of you, if you follow my work, know I've talked about. She's been on my podcast before. She's a wonderful energy healer who teaches awakened prana, an energy technique. She has a wonderful book. Check out Annie B. Bond's Energy Prana book. I don't have the title right, so we'll have to put that in the show notes as well. But she and I love to get together. I met her the first time I went to teach at Omega because I had traveled all day and knew I needed an attunement. So I recommend to all of you, look for energy healers by word of mouth, because we can't always heal ourselves. That's why we're given each other. That's why Source creates relationship. Okay. So she said, Suzanne, there's a vortex in this area that I was introduced to, and it's a very powerful place. I'd love to take you there. Man, I was like a kid in a candy shop, Stephanie. It was like, yes, yes, let's go. So, everybody, what is a vortex? It is a place, many places around the earth, where the energy has just developed a pattern that's very powerful, that we can feel and that we can access. And when you sit in that energy, you benefit from it. I recently interviewed Freddie Silva, who has written books about portals and energy vortices. And so we had a great conversation about that. And now I have an opportunity to go to one with Annie Bond. Great. So we drive to this place and then we hike in the woods. And I was thinking, boy, it's good you're showing me this place, because I don't think I could find my way out of here. In fact, I wanted to go back on my own Sunday, the last morning of the workshop. And my guide said, do not go. You will be wandering around in the woods and your students will be saying, where is Suzanne? And I was thinking, well, why can't you leave me out of here? It all looked the same once you were in the woods, until we got to this one special spot. It was a little mound of dirt and rocks and grass. It was beautiful. And so we sat on rocks in this space, and it just had this lovely feel to it. And here, everybody, is where it's really wonderful to have a childlike, playful attitude of wonder and what if. Like, what if there really is something to this? I can't prove that a portal or a vortex is real, but what if I really do benefit from being here? What if I really could feel this higher energy? Remember, those of you who may be new to my work, I had 20 years as a Navy officer. I'm a retired Navy commander and commanding officer. And if you had said to me back when I was in the Navy, oh, we're going to go to a vortex and feel the special energy, I would have said, yeah, right. But I've had so many personal experiences because I've been open and had that playful attitude. And because my greatest desire, now that I know who we are, is to constantly connect with spirit and to improve that connection. That's what all of my teaching is about. It's why we do these shows, so that you can learn to connect more clearly and feel who you are as a soul. You're getting a transmission just by being in the energy of the guides right now. So we sit there, and she said, let's just become still and see what we sense. So we're sitting there and we're very quiet, but I didn't just close my eyes. I wanted to look around. And then we're just gazing softly. And to my right, I sensed a presence, a female presence. And I knew it was Mary Magdalene. Although I have no experience with her whatsoever, I couldn't tell you about her. I knew it was her. I'm going to tell you something else I got there. Let me make a note. Okay. And then as I'm gazing about and just feeling that divine energy, right down this, what wasn't a path, but was like a natural path through the trees, and opening through these trees, I saw in my mind's eye Jesus walking towards us in a white robe with this shaft of light, and the light came towards us. And I have a lot of interactions with Christ consciousness in my meditations, and I've channeled Christ consciousness. I know him at the soul level, as we all do. I was not raised with any religion. He is my greatest teacher. He is the greatest, in my experience, example of loving kindness and compassion. So it was, well, what a gift this is to actually sense you walking towards us. And then I sensed a ring of beings around us, like 100 of them. Couldn't see them, but I sensed them. And they said, we will be surrounding the building where you're teaching this weekend. We're holding sacred space. This was my experience. So then what's so cool about this, are you all ready? So we kind of, by unspoken agreement, looked at each other and said, what did you experience? I looked at Annie and said, what did you experience? She said, well, I experienced Mary Magdalene over there. And right down there between the trees, Jesus was walking towards us in a white robe with this divine light coming at us. And there are about 100 beings in a circle around us. Oh, oh, you know, I've since, my logical left brain says, did I just pick up on what she was experiencing? No, it was my experience, and it was her experience, and it was divine. And the lesson that I heard, which was given in one of our daily messages earlier this week, the phrase was, I have given so much credence, and this is for all of you. This is so important. This is such great teaching. As a medium, I wish I could see the spirits' faces, but I don't. I see their bodies, I see motions, I see images they put in my mind, but not seeing their faces has caused me to have to truly feel them and sense them and merge with them. So it's been a gift. But they said in that moment at the Vortex, you believe, all of you, that seeing is believing. So you may feel you have to see Jesus to know he's with you. You may feel you have to see your loved one who has crossed the veil to believe that they're here. But they said, knowing is the truest form of seeing. You see? That's what we say. I see. And I saw Jesus in my mind's eye, yet in the full form, in the robe with the light, and I knew it was him. I didn't see Mary. I just knew she was there. I couldn't see the 100 people. I knew it, and they were affirming, this is the truest form of seeing. That's why we say, I see. And so I don't doubt that experience at all, because I didn't need to objectively see it. I know it was real. And what a gift to have Annie have the same experience and validate what didn't need to be validated. Oh, that was amazing. And it's probably, the guides say it was all divinely planned to empower that powerful weekend we had at Omega, because it stunned me, the power of the channeling that happened. So we're all constantly growing, and I do these podcasts so that you know what is possible for you listening now. Everybody, Stephanie and everybody listening, whether you're listening live or later, you're getting a transmission that helps shore up your divine blueprint, that helps fill you with more of the soul's light, helps you turn up your soul's light. That's the journey. And what is that light? It's love. It's love. We're here to be the expression of love. And that's what life is. Love in full expression. Wow. How about that?
Oh, for Annie to say the same thing, I just got full body goosebumps when you said that. And I think so too. I'm a baby medium, baby at this, but also from a very corporate left brain world. And I too don't see, but there is something about the imagery that comes into your mind, and then accompanied by that knowing that's just powerful.
You've connected with your own daughter across the veil with Katie,
yes.
And you knew that was her, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And then you asked for validations and you got them, but I know you didn't need the validation. You just knew. Yeah. So I hope that's helpful to everybody. That kind of teaching we're going to be sharing August 12th and every month after. So join us if you enjoyed that. Also, if you're enjoying this podcast, I do want to remind you to click the subscribe button if you don't already subscribe. By the way, I don't know if you saw the reel I put on Instagram. I know, Stephanie, you helped me with that. I'm riding my bike with my friend Candace last week. We're on this gorgeous trail. I'm not thinking about spirit. And all of a sudden, Sanaya says, stop and check your YouTube channel. We're out in this beautiful nature, but I've learned to follow orders, right? When it's not going to be harmful and there was no traffic and it was going to be helpful. So I stop and I pull up my app with the back end of the YouTube channel. In that exact moment, we had clicked over to exactly 160,000 subscribers. It was such a beautiful moment, not only to celebrate that we are helping so many people join our Awaken Way community, but to tune into Spirit on the bike and say, if you look now, you're going to love it. 160000. It was a beautiful number. And that, again, is why we do this, so that you can tune into the guidance and you can remember to act on it just by hearing how joyous it makes us. All right, let's get back to the questions from everybody here, Steph.
Okay. All right. This one, and I hope I'm not mispronouncing your name, so I'm sorry if I do. Maux, Suzanne May. You may be able to.
That sounds
Okay.
right.
Okay, so this could be helpful for many people who have this situation. Her sister passed in January, and we had a challenging relationship. Many of us can have that sometimes. She was jealous of me and treated me unkindly. I'm wondering, does she still hold a grudge against me in spirit?
You know those cartoons? My guides just show me cartoons where you see a bubble go up over the head and it goes poof, P-O-O-F, poof. That's what happens to the story when we cross the veil. We see it for what it was, interactions born of ignorance of who we are. And once you feel yourself as a soul, you say, oh, if only I had remembered. I'm a soul, and we made this soul agreement to be sisters or mother and daughter or father and son or whoever, whatever the relationship is, you're aware of that once you cross the veil. And so that's why our loved ones are very eager to communicate with us once they've crossed the veil. They're saying it right now. Imagine your sister saying, I'm sorry. I forgive you. And I know there were moments when you also acted very human. And please forgive me for when I acted very human. They're trying. They send us signs to let us know they're around. And that's the beauty of mediumship. The medium gets to be their voice and say, oh, they're apologizing for this. And yes, they realize now they could have done better now that they see who they are. The life review that we all go through, and yes, the guides say you all do, allows us to see all the choices we made and why we made them. And there's no judgment, because it's all about love. Judgment keeps us feeling separate. So please, if we can drop the judgment now, we'd call it dying daily. Die right now to the ego and the story. Just drop the story and say, I am a soul. How would the soul react to this here and now? That's living the awakened way.
Yeah, I've been using this mantra that you shared, is just live and lead from the heart, and it's just very helpful. I set a reminder on my phone, and it'll say it to me a few times throughout the day. So
Nice. And why
Thank
the
you.
heart, everybody? Because that's the center of you, and it's the connection with the soul, and the soul speaks to you through the heart. Your energetic heart has the largest field of any aspect of you. And so we go here to tune in, to sense, how does this feel? What's the best way to react, to connect with our guides from this space, not this space. And Wolf's message that I'm on tour with now, Wolf's message is all about getting out of the head where we feel separate and must think through everything, get into the heart where we know. I have a good definition for you all of what intuition is. Non-linear knowing, meaning it's not A plus B leads to C. It's I just know without A and B. I'm already at C for consciousness. That was cool. All right.
Especially for we left brain people who just don't, you don't have to do that. You get to see.
Yeah, that's right. Because it's already here. That's why intuition is this perfect instant source. Not always perfect, the guides say. It's this instant source of knowing, and it's already here. Act on if it's helpful. That was something else I was going to lead to talking about. Oh, the Wolf's Message tour. We leave in a week for part 2 of the tour, Pacific Northwest. The first day in Seattle area is sold out. But if you're in the Seattle area, August 6th, Linwood, Seattle, we're going to be sharing the documentary Wolf's Message, and I'll be speaking about it afterwards. Lake Oswego, Oregon is sold out, but we have room in Novato, California, Marin County. Join us there if you're anywhere in the area, even worth coming from out of town for these really high power events where we watch the film together and then discuss the messages and the behind the scene stories afterwards. Then Reno, Nevada is sold out, but then on to the Southwest for part 3 after a little break. If you don't have the opportunity to join us in person and you haven't seen Wolf's Message, go to wolfsmessage.com and click Watch Now. You can watch it online or at Gaia TV. All righty. Onward, Stephanie, more questions.
Okay. This one is from Happy Bowl. Her question is, I lost a baby before she was born. Can I contact her? I'm having trouble,
Yes.
healing her.
Yes. You already know each other at the soul level, right? You're part of that soul family we talked about earlier. If you're just joining us, this is the bracelet I have that reminds me of the connections that are always here for us. When I do readings, I often will feel and know that a person had a miscarriage. How do I know this? Because in my system that shows me relationship in relation to where I'm sitting, I sense over here children who have passed. If it's a child that wasn't born, this is still in soul form. And I just sense sparkly light there. And so, as an evidence based medium, I can't tune into personality and memories and traits, but I feel that love and I feel that connection. And often they'll tell me why they didn't end up incarnating, why they were going to go into the body and they didn't. Sometimes it's simply because of the lessons from not from the parent that now tries again and learns patience and forgiveness for themselves and has to deal with these deep emotions. What a challenge, but that helps us grow and learn that we are connected always. So, and sometimes something happened to the body that they were going to become. Let me check with the guides. The soul is creating that body with the parents. We got to that earlier today. But sometimes there is a glitch in the program, the guides say, in terms you would understand. And they realize that this is not going to be the optimal environment for that soul. So they're going to wait and come back again. So there are so many dynamics at play here. But to answer the specific question, yes, you can connect with that soul because you already are. It's a matter of practicing sitting in stillness, trusting and believing that that connection is possible, and then attuning at the heart level. What do you sense? You're going to feel that love. Trust it. Know it.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes. And for Happy Bowl, please try the Sip of the Divine and the Bless Me method, both of which are on the channel, Suzanne's YouTube channel.
Excellent. And Stephanie, you just reminded me, I hope you all know about my latest book, Making the Afterlife Connection. That's my story of how I went from very left brain Navy officer to this ongoing conscious connection with spirit and being divinely guided. What a blessing. But it's possible for all of us. So you learn from my story, but also at the end of every chapter are specific tools so you can learn to make the connection. It's also available in audiobook format that I narrated, so you'll feel the energy.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. This one is from Lindy, and I've heard this also, and I've seen a couple of the same kinds of questions here. My husband had a very difficult passing. It was physically hard. He physically fought leaving his body. Why was it so hard for him? Or anyone in that situation?
And anybody, yes, of course. We're very attached to our incarnations when we believe it's all we are and the only people we are. And we also are very attached to our loved ones here. and we often don't want to leave them. We also often have great fear because we don't realize what awaits us, and we don't want pain, and we don't want to just disappear into darkness. There are so many layers of fear and why we cling. But the soul is always present and always trying to nudge us and let us know you are loved and safe and whole no matter what. And so, if we can just get this through to our human awareness and struggle less, what a blessing that is. And that's part of what all of this work is about as well. One of the main messages of the documentary Wolf's Message is to take away the fear of dying.
Mhm.
So, yeah, you see a lot of people clinging. And it's also, the guides say, another layer is the body is programmed for survival. So there are going to be aspects of the human side that says, I'm going to fight for my life no matter what. So all of these are opportunities to practice allowing and non-attachment.
Mm-hmm.
That's that die daily in awareness to the ego story. It doesn't disappear. It's always here, but we don't cling to it. We acknowledge it, we use it, we grow from it, but we also attune to our higher self and find peace.
Mm-hmm.
Hey.
Wonderful.
Boy, we get into some deep stuff and some light stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Whew, okay.
Yes. All right. This one is from Neha. How do I know if I'm an old soul or a new soul? And does it really matter?
You know the answer already, Neha. I recognize you. But anybody that asks that question already knows the answer. And I love that part 3. Does it really matter? Okay, guides, they say, if it matters to you, then you can put a label on yourself as a new soul. To us, there is no difference, new soul or old soul. New soul is a human concept for saying that person still has a lot to learn. They haven't been around the block a lot. But the soul is beyond time. So in our human incarnation, we really have a challenge grasping how something can be nonlinear, how you can be having all of your lives at once, but you are. When you can at least grasp that that's possible because the soul is beyond time, then there is no such thing as an old soul or a new soul. There simply is being as a soul having experiences in what we call different lifetimes. So it's a concept that allows us to gently and compassionately say, well, that person is new at incarnating as a human. And so they're making more judgments, or they're more filled with fear. That's an old soul. And you see that a lot in children. Oh, they're wise beyond their years. We label children who are extremely compassionate and a really bright light. That's an old soul. See, because in our human incarnations, we equate wisdom with age, but that's not always so, is it? And so it's a concept, but that works at this level, but at the soul level, it's meaningless. So does it matter? No. Be the expression of love that you are always. That's the goal. Yay.
Wow.
Okay. We can do a few more here.
Okay.
I saw somebody say, do you ever come to Canada? We have. I don't have any plans immediately because we're on tour and I don't know what's coming down the road here. Yeah. But we love going to Canada. I love going anywhere in the world, but it's just a matter of, because we have to deal with time in our human world, fitting everything in.
Okay. Here is another one. Do souls that have passed who believed in life after death communicate more often and easily because they believed?
In general, the guides say yes. And my friend Brenda is a perfect case in point. She had studied mediumship. She knew there is an afterlife, which the guides call the ever life, beyond time.
Yeah.
And she communicated with me within hours after passing, sitting right beside me on the couch, full sentences. It was her voice, no doubt. And this is a perfect opportunity to share what just happened to me 2 days ago, Stephanie. So I
Oh,
hope you all will learn from this and it'll expand your belief system. I have a friend here where I am in Idaho now whose mother passed very suddenly. And it was really interesting because I don't text her often, but I suddenly reached out to her, just said, "Hey, how are you doing?" She had an injury, and I said, "How's your healing going?" And she said, "Well, that's fine, but my mother just passed." And then I knew why I had reached out. I didn't realize I was reaching out because her mother passed, but Spirit said, "She needs you." Isn't that cool? How we're being guided and we may not know it. So I gave her some comfort. She knows all about this work. She's watched Wolf's Message. She's all in. So she knows her mom's okay, but that doesn't keep us from our grief, nor the shock of the sudden lack of physical presence that we all feel when somebody passes. It's an energetic shock, which, by the way, next week's podcast is going to feature an interview with Mary Seiss, who does tapping to help heal the shock of grief. Perfect. So mark your calendars. And if you're watching this afterwards, you can go find it on YouTube if this is not live for you now. Meanwhile, my friend reached out to me by text 2 nights ago. She said, "Suzanne, I know you're busy and I don't want to take advantage of our friendship, but can you feel my mom?" And my initial reaction was at the human level where I thought, oh my gosh, that's really soon. I like to give those across the veil more time to learn to communicate, to settle in. And then I thought of Brenda. And then I thought of another friend's husband who dropped in on me very shortly afterwards. And then I thought, of course I could connect with her. She's a soul. Whether or not her human story has learned to communicate within the story, that being, I can connect to her mom's soul. So I got beyond my own BS, my belief system, because my initial reaction was, no, I need to wait. And I tuned in that moment and said, can I? And the guy said, of course you can. So just sitting right there, I just expanded awareness, used my own bless me method, but very quickly, and just said, Mom, what do you have to say to your daughter? And let's throw some evidence in there so she knows it's you. And I texted it to her, and it was Mom. And she's fine, and she loves her, but she still has to go through the grief. It's a process. But what a joy to know our loved ones are right here, always. And I'm asking Spirit to ask you to ask just the right question to wrap this up, Stephanie.
Okay. All right. All right. This one is from Melanie. Can we manifest healing for another who has both physical and cognitive disabilities?
Spirit says those challenges are occurring to that person as opportunities. And you may not be able to manifest healing, but you may assist in the repatterning of those energy fields. I hope that makes sense to everybody. We all are part of one field of human consciousness. Each one of us is an individual field that's part of our soul's field. And illness is distortion within the field. And so we can heal from within, but other people's patterns affect our energy fields. So absolutely, prayer makes a difference. Absolutely, sitting with the intention of sending, here comes some to all of you, sending healing energy uplifts and helps strengthen the energy fields. So know that because you are an individual field within the one field of source, there's no separation. That's love. And that's why love heals. And that's why love is the answer. And it may not be felt immediately. And we may not heal our world immediately because our world is in evolution. It's why we're here. We're here to all remember we are the presence of love. We're all here to be love in expression for the joy of creating and evolving individually and together. We're both and all of it. We're separate and whole. This is the journey, coming to know this. And that's why love heals. So by all means, manifest that, but do not feel that you're a failure. If it doesn't manifest, my friend Brenda received an energy healing just before she passed for her cancer. She was able to meditate again. She got clarity from the fog in her brain. She healed the last vestige of self-loathing. And when she crossed the veil, she said, yeah, I died. Did that mean the healing wasn't real? Didn't work? It worked. It healed the last of the gunk. And here she was communicating so clearly right away. And the growth continues across the veil. I can tune in here. Hi, Brenda. And so healing is continuously taking place. And the guys say, what is healing? Coming to know more and more we are love and embodying that. Love is lack of distortion in the field. And we create that moment by moment through our choices. And the more you live and express that love, the more wholeness you feel and the greater your connection with all that is. It just goes round and round. Wow. Thank you all so much for being part of the energy here today and sending your love to every one of us and all who will listen to this in the future. So much good information from Spirit, so much love from all of you. Wasn't it awesome, Stephanie?
Oh, great. Thank you so much.
Yeah. And thank you for what you added to it, Stephanie. Love your comments and your love. Well, everybody, thanks for being part of the Awaken Way community. We will see you back here next week, I hope, because we're going to keep bringing good information and energy to you every week. Check out SuzanneGiesemann.com/your questions answered. In case your question wasn't answered today, ask it there and see how the repository of all this wisdom answers back to you. I love all of you, and thanks for being on this journey with us. Bye-bye.